Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cookies. And these particular cookies, well, the base is built with chocolate pudding that you buy in a box, okay? And they are chocolate pudding chocolate chip cookies. And it's an easy recipe, it's a quick recipe, and I like to say, and I say it quite a bit, it's a good one. So let's get started. Now, first off, we're going to be using shortening. Now, I want to give you a heads up. I know that some folks have written to me over the years saying they can't even get shortening. Have I tried this recipe or used this recipe with butter? The answer would be no. I'm sorry, I don't. But I like the shortening if you can get it because it gives the cookie a crispness to it, but it also gives it a chewy type, I think, texture. If you don't like shortening, then you might not like this recipe, but please check out other cookie videos that I have on, you know, chocolate drops, chocolate chip, double chocolate chip, whatever, if this is not to your liking, okay? Also, very quickly, I no longer write the ingredient list recipe below the video, and I'm really sorry about that. So if you want to jot down the recipe as we go along during this video, you know, like I said, please do. So let's start off with 1 cup of shortening, okay? And I'm going to put that in my mixing bowl. Now, you can do this recipe with a hand mixer if that's what you prefer, or maybe you don't have a stand-up, but I like the stand-up due to the videos because I think it moves things along a lot faster than using a hand mixer for this cookie recipe. All right, so I also want to warn you that when the mixer goes on, it can sound loud. So I'll try to do my best to give you a heads up, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cream and break up the shortening, the 1 cup of shortening, to 1 cup of granulated sugar. Okay, and I'm going to turn on my mixer. Now, spend whatever time it takes for you to start to cream that. It might be a minute, it might be a minute and a half. It really depends what speed you're at and, you know, if you're using a hand mixer or a stand. The next thing that I'm going to cream in is brown sugar. You need 3/4 of a cup. Now, the reason that I leave it like this till I break it up, because I know some people write to me and say, well, you know, it should be broken up. I leave it this way purposely to remind us, for some of us, that you know, you do want it packed when you measure it, okay? So 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, light or dark, up to you. Okay, and again, you know, mix that in, bring it all together. I got to check kind of my sides and the bottom a little bit as I go along because it tends to miss that area when it's the paddle spinning. Okay, and here comes that chocolate pudding. Use whatever brand that you like, but you will only need 3.5 ounces. Now, this particular box that I bought had more than 3.5 ounces, and I didn't want the cookies to be too dry. So what I did was I actually, on a scale, measured out 3.5 ounces. And then I had a little left over that I'll use for another recipe or that kind of thing. So again, 3.5 ounces of, oh, and I'm sorry, I did want to mention instant pudding, okay? So we're going to put that in now. Okay, and then just beat that together till you know we have a little bit of instant pudding dust there. Okay, the next thing we're going to beat in one at a time are 2 eggs at room temperature. So we'll put the one in. And now the second. Okay, and as you see, I used a higher speed only to kind of move things along. It will look like this, okay? Once you get that combined, I'll turn that on just for another second or two. Okay, now let's work on the dry. What you're going to need are 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. 2 1/4. We're also going to be putting in 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And I'm just going to give it a little stir here. Mix that in. And then we're going to be putting a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now it doesn't have to be mixed real well, just a little bit here. Okay. All right, and now we're going to slowly add this to our wet, okay? I would suggest a little at a time because you know you don't want flour all over your kitchen and you. I'm going to raise my speed because my paddle's struggling a little bit. Stay with that till it starts to form a cookie dough ball, okay? I'm going to raise my speed and it'll actually clean the whole bowl for me. Okay, and what I mean by cleaning is that, you know, it will bring everything together that's in the bowl. Now, the next thing that you're going to need, of course, are the chocolate morsels or the chocolate chips. Now, you can use dark, you can use milk, you could use a white chocolate. It's really, you know, whatever your combination is. I mean, I've never put butterscotch drops in it, but I bet that would taste good too with the chocolate. So 1 cup. Now, you can put this in and fold it in by hand, or you can put it in your mixer. I like to put it in my mixer. I don't feel that it really breaks them up that much or they lose their integrity and their shape. But I think when I prefer to use the mixer because I think it evenly distributes it. But if not, take it off and then fold these in by hand. That was 1 cup. Okay, now I'm just going to remove my paddle, a little bit of that excess off of there. All right, I'll push that out of the way. And then I want to show you, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, but as I mentioned, how it cleans the bowl. You know, all the cookie dough is all combined, okay? And then just go through if you've got some loose chocolate chips to combine them if they're sitting on the bottom of the bowl. But this is what it will look like. It's a moist a batter. It's not real sticky to work with. Okay. Now the question might come up, can you put nuts in it? Yes, you can. You can use whatever type of nut you want, whether it's walnuts or pecans or whatever. If you want, try a 1/2 cup of chopped nut, your favorite if you'd like. I usually make these without nuts. The next thing, of course, you're going to need a cookie pan or a cookie sheet. I'm using my parchment paper today. If you want to use your silicone mats or you want to just lightly spray, it's up to you, whatever you prefer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drop off about a tablespoon to 1.5 tablespoons, around that. So I'm using my scoop instead of a tablespoon, because if you don't have a scoop, then use a tablespoon. And you'll want to put them at least 2 inches apart, because they are going to spread when they bake. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with watching me put cookies on a parchment paper here. But you're going to bake these at 350 degrees, again 2 inches apart, because they are going to flatten. And you can get about 7 dozen cookies if you make them about that size. If you decide to make them smaller, you're going to get more. If you make them larger, of course, obviously you'll get less. Just remember to adjust your time in baking. And you don't want to over bake these. I tend to get them and check them around 8 minutes, and I find in my oven it's almost like 9 minutes, 9.5 minutes when they're ready to come out. Let them sit on the pan for just a minute or two before you release them and put them on your cooling rack so they don't break up on you. That kind of thing. And all our ovens set up so differently. So you know how to adjust the timing when you're baking in your particular oven. Now I'm going to wash my hands very quickly, and then I'd like to show you the final product. I'm working with raw cookie dough. And this is how they bake up. They will have a beautiful light to medium brown, these cookies, okay? They're not going to be real tall cookies. They're going to be semi-flat. They will have like different breaks on the top. That doesn't affect the cookie at all. And you're going to bake them up to a nice golden brown on the bottom, okay? And when you break into them, also they will have a hard crisp on the outside, top and bottom. And then when you break into them, though, they will be chewy. So they have a little bit of, a bite to them when you bite into them. So they're crisp where they need to be, but they're softer and chewy in the center, which I think you're really going to like, okay? And I'm just going to press them together. I think that with doing that, you can kind of see as they come together as I press them that they are chewy and they have a moisture to them. They're not real moist, they're semi-moist, but oh, they are a great tasting cookie with whatever you want to have with coffee or tea, or dip them in milk. These cookies too are really great for putting just a little dollop of your favorite ice cream between them and make, like a ice cream little sandwich. Oh, they are so good. And they're easy to make. And again, you're using the base of instant chocolate pudding, whatever brand you want to use. So there you have it. If you try this recipe and you like it, well, I'd love to hear from you. I'd also like to remind you to solely watch me on YouTube, because that's the only place that I put my videos. And I no longer put the list, because I'm not alone on this, that's for sure. I got very tired of seeing people taking my work, claiming it as theirs, and putting it on other sites and posting it and pinning and what have you. And when people or a person has written to me and they've taken my work, I can't answer you. So it became so frustrating for me. If you watch me on YouTube, because that's the only place I put those videos, and you are kind enough to write to me or ask a question or comment, I'll answer you in a timely fashion, and I'll be able to get that and answer you. So sorry to go into that long thing, but I do get questions why I don't put the recipe below the video. So I wanted to explain that. So I want to thank you again for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe, that would be fantastic, or ring the bell, or even give me a like. It would be fantastic. So thanks for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you soon.